Am I the asshole for telling my mom she's to blame for my addiction? Hi, Reddit. I, 19 female, am 99% sure that I'm autistic. This is an important note because I have the tendency to fixate on my interests to a self-destructive point. I cannot afford an official diagnosis but am trying to get myself into a position where I can. My mom, 37 female, was a young single mother. When I was a very young child, my mom saved up and got a huge heavy laptop. She downloaded the original Sims collection and, if I was good, I was allowed to play for a few hours. My love for The Sims has stayed permanent to the point I'd define it as one of the main interests in life. Growing up I'd get the new expansions for my birthday, Christmas, play whenever I had free time, and genuinely immerse myself in the lives of my little virtual families as much as possible. My mom never saw an issue with this. When I turned 16, I got my first job specifically to buy TS4 Snowy Escape. Every time an expansion comes out, I buy it. Every time I get a new expansion, I tend to go on a small binge and spend all of my free time playing for a week or two. I have over 20,000 hours in The Sims 4 because of this. A horse pack was recently announced and I was telling my mom how excited I am to have horses in the game again. She sat me down and told me that, while she's happy I have hobbies, she's getting worried about how much time I spend on the game. I told her that, while I understand her concerns, I'm still working a, now full-time, job. I'm able to pay for things outside of the game, and I have friends. Having this as a hobby is something that brings me joy. She told me that my inability to focus on anything other than the game when at home is an issue. I reminded her that I've had the same habit of playing Sims for the past 15 years and that she's technically the one who started me on it. I told her that her using the computer as a babysitter led to an addiction and that, until I'm able to afford real therapy, she's going to have to live with the fact that this is my version of therapy. She's now upset with me and things have been tense for a few days. I think it's because I blamed her for my addiction to Sims and I'm starting to feel bad because she was just voicing her concerns. Am I the asshole? Edit for an info request. I can't find the comment, sorry for not replying. I started playing at either age 3/4. I don't remember exactly when but I know it was around then. My mom would put me in front of the computer then go to work from age 8 and on. I'd do my homework on the way home specifically so I'd be able to play Sims all night. If I were to go to work with her, I'd bring the laptop and play Sims the whole time. My friends are mostly online so I really don't leave the house unless I have to or am already out for something else. Yes, I have symptoms other than hyperfixation. They are not relevant so I didn't add them to the post. I have a lot of sensory issues, anxiety, and tend to struggle with verbal communication case among other things. Edit 2, to address comments. My mother is the one who started calling it an addiction. I call it an interest, hobby. I do tend to forget to do things such as eating, sleeping, hydrating while I play so usually I'll have a snack, drink by my computer and have alarms set on my phone reminding me to eat, sleep at certain times. I do my best to make sure things are taken care of before I play and have checklists I go through on my phone but sometimes I forget to finish longer tasks. Drying the laundry is a big one. Edit 3 for a request. I was told to add some of my symptoms and examples to the post to prevent confusion. There are more but I'm trying not to add too many. My symptoms include fixating on interests, Sims, angiosperm-type plants, bread and general gluten-structured baked goods, ships, struggling with verbal Ks. People say I'm rude when I try relaying information and I can't really tell when people are joking. Sensory issues, touching denim, Velcro, velvet, and sticky textures tend to make my anxiety go wild. I also have problems with sound. Stimming. I sway a lot. Picking at skin, hair around my face, hands. I chew on things, clicking pens, flipping switches, etc. I had to do a few years of speech training when I was younger, couldn't pronounce R or verses. You are the asshole. Your mother was a struggling single parent and went out of her way to save money to provide you with an activity that you would enjoy. She is expressing legitimate concern about how much time you spend on the game now, and you've mom-shamed her for behavior that you are deciding to engage in. You are exhibiting a total victim mentality. If you are able to stop playing the game to take care of responsibilities, such as work, you are perfectly capable of spending time away from it for other priorities on which you choose to spend time. Stop blaming your mom and a potential undiagnosed condition. You need to apologize to your mother and take responsibility for your behavior. You are the asshole. You're an adult, you should take some responsibility for your actions. It has always been your decision to play the game, Nobody was forcing you, so don't blame anyone but yourself for your addiction. You are the asshole. You playing games is on you, not her. YTA you are 19 and think you are addicted to a video game so you need to handle it. You are the asshole. The blame game isn't a game you can win. Am I the asshole for calling my friend out after she and her boyfriend fought in front of me? This Saturday was my 27th birthday. I planned a dinner at my favorite restaurant and drinks at a bar with Carly, 27F, Carly's boyfriend Nate, 31M, and another friend. Nate and Carly spend every weekend at bars, so this night was not out of the ordinary for them. When I first mentioned the dinner to Carly, she asked if Nate could come, and I said yes. The day of, Carly texted me to ask if we could do dinner at 7:30, and I said yes. When I got to Carly's place, she said we couldn't go yet because Nate wasn't there yet and he would be another 20 minutes. I counted the time and realized that with that delay, we would get to the restaurant too late. I asked if Nate could meet us at the restaurant because he'd be driving past it, and Carly said Nate wouldn't do that and that if he didn't ride with us, she didn't want him to come. I let it go and just picked a different restaurant, then coordinated with my other friend. When he got there, Carly followed Nate into the bedroom, and they started fighting. The apartment is small, so I heard everything. I learned that Nate had already eaten dinner and didn't want to come with us, but Carly insisted. I missed going to my favorite restaurant so Nate could come, even though he didn't actually want to in the first place. I didn't say anything to them about it, and after 10 minutes of fighting, they came out of the bedroom and we left. They continued to fight in front of me in the car and in front of my friend and I at the restaurant. The night was super awkward. They barely talked to anyone else and spent the night arguing with each other, and not quietly either. I saw Carly again yesterday, and she was complaining to me about a couple she knows that fight in front of her all the time. I said something like, "Oh, like you and Nate did on my birthday?" I thought it was fine to tease her about this. It was not fine. She got really mad at me. I tried to de-escalate and say that it was fine, it just made the night awkward for me. I said that I was grateful to her and Nate for taking me and my friend around and I had a good night, but I could tell Carly didn't have fun. Carly was still very upset about it and got defensive. I got kind of mad too and asked her what they'd been fighting about all night. I already knew what it was about and knew that it was petty, but Carly explained it again. I asked why she couldn't put that aside for one night and just have fun with me. Carly said I didn't understand relationships at all. I reminded her that while I have been single for 2 years, I was in a very committed relationship for 6 years, and that I very much understood what it was like to fight with your partner, but being unable to put that aside and spend time with your best friend on her birthday wasn't cool. Instead, Carly chose to feed into the fight and the bad energy and ruin the vibe. She called me an So, here I am, asking you all, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You had planned your birthday outing and invited the people you wanted there. And because of her, your plans had to be changed and at last minute. It was incredibly rude and childish for them to fight in front of you guys the whole night. Not the asshole. Carly was the asshole 100%. This was about your day, your birthday. This wasn't just some random night out. She ruined it for you and she so needs to absolutely and sincerely apologize to you. You have every right to feel let down by her. Not the asshole. She's being a hypocrite and apparently, like most hypocrites, doesn't like it to be pointed out to them. You are wrong here. Not the asshole. She shouldn't have made you change your plans for her boyfriend. And she probably get really defensive because she knows you're right and is embarrassed. Not the asshole. Not even close. Am I the asshole for being mad at my homophobic sister? I, 33 female, came out just in the last couple of years. First to the newer people I'd meet as it felt safer, but eventually around June 2022 I told my family. Initially everyone was okay about it. My parents are openly homophobic, so they were more like, okay, well, we love you still, and for me that's enough. My other siblings were totally fine, as I knew they'd be. My oldest sister, 36 female, though, she married a super conservative guy when she was 23. They have 2 children, my beautiful nieces aged 8 and 10, and a great life together, but I did have a lot of reason for concern when it came to their beliefs, to say the least. But when I came out to her, she was initially supportive. Then about a week later I was going to dinner at their house and I was texting her earlier in the day and mentioned that I got her an Ally shirt for Pride Month. It was a gray shirt with a rainbow that said, Ally. She said, "Do you mind texting me when you get here so I can come outside and get it and hide it before the girls see?" I asked her why and she said, "Name. My children are way too young to learn about sex." I was pretty taken aback. The shirt in no way indicates sex. And if they ask what it's for, which they probably wouldn't, how hard is it to say, "Some girls like girls," without things getting sexual? Or at least, an ally is when you support communities you aren't personally a part of. She immediately said I was overreacting and I don't have kids so I don't understand and can't tell her how to raise her kids. The conversation got a lot uglier from there with an instant assertion that she wouldn't let her kids be influenced by over-sexualized cultures. To say the least, I didn't go over to dinner and now a year later, with the exception of some pretty nasty voice messages on her end saying I ruined the family by deciding to be gay all of the sudden, not ruined meaning because I'm gay, but because I won't talk to her, and a few emails from me that were definitely angry and firm we still haven't spoken. She just emailed me out of the blue saying I've broken up the family and it's been a year and enough is enough and we have to put it past us because this is so silly and it's all over a shirt. So after a year of reflection she still sees no issue with her behavior, no reason to apologize and is blaming me being upset over her actions rather than acknowledging her actions. So AITA for insisting that she acknowledge her wrongdoing and actually be sorry before just getting over it. For context, I come from a very religious background so at 33 I am just really trying to fight for myself and my ability to be my true self finally. I'm very protective of that now that I'm free to be. Edit. My sister was never religious herself and always claimed to disagree with her husband politically. I only bought the shirt because I truly did believe she'd like it. Wasn't intended to be a trap of any kind. Got one for my bro and other sister also and they took it happily and I just assumed. Not the asshole. You are right to feel proud of yourself for coming out. As far as I can see you've done nothing wrong at all. She needs to acknowledge how stupid and uncaring and intolerant she's been. Not the asshole at this point. It isn't about you being gay or the t-shirt. It's the fact that she thinks that she can hurt you and it's okay because she's family. Not the asshole. Had a feeling I didn't have to read the description and I was right. If your sister is just now being a dick then she is the asshole in this situation. Not the asshole. It's not over a shirt. It's over her homophobic values. She takes no accountability for her actions anywhere in this post. Not the asshole at all. Am I the asshole for not letting my dad stay with me for 5 weeks while he is on vacation? I, 26F, live in Ontario and my dad, 64M, lives in Peru. He moved when I was 12 and due to distance we aren't that close. And honestly he is one of the main triggers of my BPD from the abandonment issues he has caused me from leaving me so young. In September of 2022 my dad told me he was coming for 4 weeks. Though I have a sister, 32F. He wanted to stay with me. She lives with her fiancé but they have more space. I told my dad it wasn't really fair I keep him the whole trip cause he has another daughter who can also help but they both rather me do it. I told my dad to spend the time with his sister instead who isn't too far and he agreed he would. With that term I agreed to house him for a part of his trip but on the condition he also respects my mental health and does not trigger it. Well, I ended up having one of the biggest panic attacks of my life after a long time of not having one. At the end of my dad's trip I told him I would likely not do it again cause of how traumatic it was. He said he was hurt but understood and next time he could stay with his sister as this time he rarely did. Now early 2023. My dad sends me his itinerary with a stay of 5 weeks long. I didn't know he was coming. So I asked who he plans to stay with and if he had talked to his sister. He said he hasn't and wants to stay with me again. I pretty much repeat what I told him the last time about how it's too much for me mentally and to ask his other daughter if he wants to stay with one of his girls. He refuses again cause she lives with her fiancé. He said that when I have a boyfriend he would respect me not helping. Well, shortly after I get into a relationship. The guy doesn't live with me full time but is in my place a lot. I told my dad that I now can't take him based on what he said before. He then tries to push me cause my boyfriend doesn't live there full time and that now his trip is a waste as he won't see his girls. I said that's not true, that he has another daughter with more space that can help but doesn't want to. I did offer all my weekends and all my work from home days to go to his sister or my sisters to spend time with him but that wasn't good enough for him. I stood firm and got a text yesterday from him in the group chat with my sister. He says he is canceling his trip cause he won't be able to spend the time with his girls and that he will just come next year instead. I said I am sad he isn't coming, but coming next year won't solve the issue as I don't plan on moving to a bigger place. I have my boyfriend and my mental health probably won't change. So I told him he would still have to stay with his sister. My sister tells me I'm rude, to which I told her if she wasn't happy with the outcome to open her doors. My sister and dad ended up ganging up on me, calling me selfish and rude when I set this boundary, so I left the chat. So Reddit, am I the asshole? My dad is canceling his vacation even though he didn't consult me and I previously set a boundary about it? Info. Have you ever considered going no contact with him? He clearly is a handful and has already contributed to at least one panic attack. Not the asshole. Keep those boundaries tight. You've done nothing wrong. If your sister wants to see him, she'd open a bed. Obviously, she knows what she'd be dealing with and would like you to be the scapegoat. So, you're being honest with him and she is not. Don't give in. It's not in your best interest. And it sounds like his sister doesn't want him either. Not the asshole. Your dad is toxic and doesn't respect you or your boundaries. Not the asshole. You did right. Keep advocating for yourself. Reddit is proud of you. Not the asshole. Both your father and your sister don't respect your boundaries at all.